coincidentally, I wanted to say something about that today, and it's about this. It's about the fact that maybe when you talk about the reptilian influence in the world, maybe many Africans cannot identify with it because they don't. It's just a terminology that they don't understand. I just found out that Africa is in fact the home of reptilian worship, and it is embedded in African culture, in African traditions, in many things that they do. But they're somehow like caught up in semantics. And what you're saying is like something that is happening in the Western world, amongst the Illuminati and this and that, and they cannot see the influences of this at work in their own societies. You see, it's like something foreign, something distant from them, something they're learning about, and it is in their very culture. In fact, I would even like to post it that maybe it is from Africa that all this has originated somehow. And let me give you some instances. A strong man in Africa is a man who has let's say an invincible man. It's a man who can shift. He can be a lion, a tiger, a python, a viper, a scorpion, a centipede, an eagle, an owl, a crocodile, and many things. And if you attack one of his totems, his life force is transferred to the other ones, so he can continue with his activities unperturbed. And it's not uncommon to see a man. You see the legs swollen, and you begin to wonder what has happened to his leg. Can barely move. And that is where he hides his crocodile, his reptilian force. And you see somebody with a bulging something on the neck like that. It's like a calabash. It's a goiter, and that's where he or she hides his force. And he uses it when he can. So you have many of these things abound, and even though you see in the U.S. When the statue of Baphomet was erected in I don't know what city like that, people cried foul, the worship of Satan, this and that. But I want to say that maybe it will only be a statue there, but the real practice, the worship of Baphomet, takes place in Africa. I've seen it. I did not know that it was what I was seeing until I came to the new presentation to understand more that what I saw was actually the worship of Baphomet, the two-horned creature. You see there's a lot of libation poured, the best form of blood that you can pour on the shrine is human blood, and but without human blood, you could use the blood of a cow, which is expensive. Then you have goats, chickens, pigs, and all the like. You see, the shrine is just blood and blood. You have to water it with blood every time. And so when I read about Baphomet represented by two horns and everything, I said, oh, means this thing I was seeing at the time is just a stone throw from where my older sister lives. At the time, I did not know what it was because I had not had these ideas to know even the name Baphomet and all the like. So I realized that it's something commonly practiced in various shrines in around Africa, and people, in fact, for some people, it is their God. It's their God. In fact, it is not uncommon to see people while going to church. They make sure they take their magical along, just in case the Christian God fails them and something is bad is about to happen to them. Their what they call their traditional God will help them. You see, so it is interwoven in African culture, and we've come to know it as African culture, something that is part of the people. But now I'm learning that what they are doing is they are just like mediums for the reptilians. They're mediums, and they invoke them. They do all the rites and everything to make sure they're in constant touch with these forces, and you can see the effect. For the most part, Africans are not progressing because of these forces. They are too rampant, they are destructive, and all the like. And you will find if somebody wants to harm you, no matter whether you're in the US, as in Africa, it just flies there in 5 minutes, would have reached the United States and kill you. Could do something, just block everything about you, and you will suffer for the rest of your life. So when you hear Africans talk about this witchcraft and all the like, it is they are close bound with these reptilian forces, which are invoked, which are just a part of their life. It is the normal way of life there. Yeah. And so we find that religion has not succeeded to temper down these reptilian forces in Africa. And one friend told me neither have the occult, mystical, and spiritual bodies from out of Africa that people have adhered to. And in fact, it appears that while others just produce literature and all that, Africa actually does the real arcade practices with this to invoke these reptilian gods. So, Duane, how can the new presentation help Africa overcome these forces, especially as you, the Numan, Wells, the Ollis, yeah, Duane?
Okay, Charles, I get it. First off, which I've written about many times and talked about, is this is a human farming planet. And that's the entire planet, okay? Things appear differently here and there, but it's all human farming. It's just different ways to control the unaware masses. All right. And the new presentation is just that. I just wrote a group and explained it. And that is that, you know, Revizar Paul and the Real Guides and I provide references so that an individual can better understand how to, you know, handle their own life and decide if they want to see and be more, etc. But the new presentation is just that. You know, it's like when you were in school and you had a school teacher, okay? And if, you know, you didn't have shoes or lunch or something like that, did you ask the school teacher to, you know, buy you shoes and pay for your lunch? You know, again, the teacher was an instructor to instruct you. And the new presentation is that we provide, okay, what makes sense to become more aware. And so again, you know, you look at tradition and, you know, you talk about all these things and even progress or whatever. These are things that are made up in creation. And it's not about, you know, getting rid, you know, it's an old question. How do we get rid of the Callum God, you know, etc. Well, that's like saying, how do we get rid of chemtrails? How do we get rid of HARP? Okay, you want to go battle these things? You want to keep battling them? That's what you've done for lifetimes. You look at history here, which is ridiculous. Nothing but battles, to the point that it's an honor to go out and do battles, supposedly protect from others. Do birds do this? Do they battle each other every day? Do they go out to battle and do this? Once in a while, they have their little attitudes. But again, here is where the new presentation, people bring their ideas in, and mainly the Savior God idea, thinking that, oh, here's the new Savior, here's the new Redeemer, okay, etc. And it's not so. You know, it's like the sun shining. You learn to recognize what it's demonstrating. This is the bigger part of life all of a sudden. Otherwise, you stay confused in creation. It's just really that simple. So you want to play with ideas, you want to battle the dark forces, etc. Yes, you become aware of what's going on. We are too. We present certain things to give people viewpoints, but we're not here to battle that, because it's about awareness. And when people are aware, okay, like the natural environment that can take care of itself as a point in creation, then things become so. So when there are these disturbances, because we're all on planet Earth, and I have to deal with them too. Everybody has to deal with them. Yes, that's just how it is. So it's not about, gee, how do we get rid of these things? Well, yes, you just do the best you can, but at the same time, I would suggest focus on becoming more aware and doing something that makes sense, which can help offset it. But again, we're on a poisoned planet now. It's purposely poisoned everywhere. And, you know, the food you eat, the air you're breathing, etc., the ground you're walking on, it's all poison. So I'm amazed we're still walking around. So I would say be grateful that the new presentation is here for the guidance and the education that it provides, but that's it. We're not here to get better jobs for people or make sure their relationships are fine or get rid of the voodoo guys in Africa, etc. You know, again, Africa is no different than the rest of the world. It just appears different. That's all. Each country has decided themselves, and it doesn't matter where it came from. It's here now. It's right now. It's today. It's this moment. What are you going to decide? Are you going to decide to become more aware? Or are you going to stay the effect of yourself and everything around you and not take the time to understand what's really going on? It's huge. You know, we've come through millions of lifetimes to get to this point, millions. And a lifetime is nothing. It's a bit, like in computer language, you get a bit. Yeah, you get a bit here, a bit there, and you start putting them together. And still, These are little bits, they're micro bits. So we really need to have a better understanding of where we're at and not look for miracles. See, again, the masses are basically indoctrinated from the Jesus Bible idea to where everybody, for like 2,000 years now, has been waiting for the next miracle. So in the meantime, they're going to play with their cell phones and all the technology that's deceptive and harming them, and the dirty electricity, etc., that they've agreed to and accepted. And we all have. I'm part of it too. In the meantime, until the next miracle happens, there are no such things as saviors and gods and redeemers and all this. No such thing. Life is what it is. Do the birds look for a savior? No, they look for the humans to wise up and stop ruining the earth. But at the same time, the humans have consciously and unconsciously agreed, yes, to the control, to be controlled by the reptilians and to be abused. So I would say take a look at that and look at, how you have these agreements with these things instead of, like people looking to politics or the next so-called presidential candidate for a better solution. There's no such thing. It can't happen, and it's so deceptive now. Everything is deceptive. Yeah. So if you can't figure it out yourself, then what we do is we get into Skypes like this so that we share viewpoints. And this is what I suggest. If people can't, like the Africans, if they can't afford something, get together. I told a story many years ago, and it was a documentary I saw probably about 15 years ago. And it was on African women that were in a really run-down, awful place where this village was, and like really old apartments or whatever. And they were going to, a development company was going to come in and just level it all. They had to get out. So what they did is they pooled their money together and they created their own bank to lend each other money to start their own businesses. And they were successful, but it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in 2 weeks. It took years. And I thought it was excellent. Say they did something about their lives. So, and this is what I've talked about since we started the Africa Skypes years ago. And so what makes sense? You did it for yourself. Now you can show others how to do it. I did this for my daughter. I showed her how to be self-sufficient, and she is. And many people raise their children to be dependent upon them. It doesn't work. Then everybody's dependent upon each other, and then everybody's confused, and then there's more drama for more lifetimes. So, again, this reptilian influence is everywhere because people have agreed to it, and mainly unconsciously, but now they're waking up. The world is waking up because now things have gotten very extreme. And they know we're here, and the new presentation is very real, and especially on the real side, they are seeing it. That's why they're destroying the planet faster. Again, there's so many places, and Australia is a good example, and many places, and all over, etc. The 5G, whatever. Why are they putting up 20,000 satellites to embed everybody more so than it is now? Because this is human farming planet. The entire planet is infected. There is no particular area, and it doesn't matter, again, where it started from. It's here now. Take the time to become more aware and learn to see through these things and prepare yourself, especially when you are going to step over, because that's a big deal. Most people believe that they're going to go somewhere. Well, that's fine. Everybody goes somewhere. You just drop the physical body and you are somewhere. But if you don't recognize where you're at, then you don't. It's just that simple. And you stay lost. And for the most part, you'll go back in the long, long line and want another body. So again, every moment you decide, I figured it out, I'm sharing it. That's all we can do. Just like the teacher in school, just like you. You don't buy lunches or buy the kids shoes or books or whatever. You show them how to do it for themselves. And this gets very real. And so people have to get through the foo-foo and all the silliness that we've been raised with. Me too. I was indoctrinated a particular way, and I had to figure it out. So here we are. We have to get real. And you got to get real faster because, again, all this is coming faster and anything can happen. Look at China right now. Look at what they're doing. They're keeping people in their houses. They can only go out, what, once a week for a few hours or so? You're seeing what's coming. So instead of complaining and wondering about these things, I would suggest, learn to become more aware. And the real awareness is not so much in the experiences that you're having at night. Yes, you look for those, but it's the real you, which is invisible, to recognize that more so than even any experience. So this is a great opportunity. You have the knowledge. I've figured all this stuff out. I write about it all the time, but you need to pay attention more so than just like, oh, gee, I read that. I know that. See, that's where it stops at your literal mind. Until you really learn to see it, you won't. So I do this because I like the adventure, but most of all, I am grateful to know what it is. Gratitude is first. Yes, I don't look for it to be done for me in any way. I decide something, I go forward, I take the risk, and if the boys are okay with it, they back it. But that's up to them. But I do it anyhow. I don't ask them. I just do it. I do something that makes sense. If you got trash in your yard, you go pick it up. Do you ask Rebazar well, geez, should I go pick up the trash in my yard? Does that make sense? No, you just go pick it up. Do you need his permission? Do you need to be told what to do? The real guides stand with those that are the risk takers. They get a little tired of telling people what to do. Those are the people that don't know what to do and just wait around. Like the Jesus people, they wait around for Jesus to tell them something or give them a message. Okay, that's cute. And then what? Then after a few moments, they're bored with that. And then they want another message and another one. And they just want to sit and wait. And they want it done for them while they go party and trash the planet. If that makes sense, go do it. It's your planet. They're real universes, but you have to recognize them. Now is the bigger step. It's recognition. It's not a place you go. No, those are the designated heavens where you're trapped. And then you come back here. That's all the indoctrination. So, yes, Charles, we talked about this for the longest time. Whether a person can shapeshift or do all these funny things, oh, that's cute. Well, that's fine. But that has nothing to do with a person's real awareness. Those are just things that happen here. And okay, fine. The reptilians do it. They shapeshift. But what does that equal? If that's what you want, go for it. But the whole planet is infected. It's really time to wake up. And most people don't want to face that. They want to pretend it's somewhere else. Well, it's not somewhere else. It's right in front of you every moment. It's just how you see it or want to see it or don't want to see it. And so it's not a good or bad thing. It's just something you come here to wake up. And it's part of the experience. And again, I have to deal with it every day. I do too. I'm affected too by many things. And I just deal with it. It's not about happiness. But I still keep going. I've been here since the beginning and I will keep going. Because again, it's about gratitude. I am grateful to know. And I'm grateful for everybody that stepped up and helped support this. Because as we all become more aware, that becomes, you might say, our line of defense. It's your awareness. And when you give up the agreement to these things, well, all of a sudden, yeah, they're going to try and bother you like a fly. But you just push them out of the room. You learn to do that, okay, without doing. So again, there's no opposing forces, but these people like to play with forces. But it's about awareness, your real awareness, like the sun shining. It doesn't harm anybody, it just shines. See? So everybody can do the same thing.